Hello, everybody. So, things going on today. I got a package in the mail, which was the Athelia statue. We'll talk about that in a second. But also, Path of Exile just did the official announcement for the new expansion. I have not watched the video yet. We're gonna watch it on stream. Oh boy. If I can, turn up the sound and get things ready. Anyway, as I was saying, before we get started, I'm going to be doing some other nonsense as well. Just giving people time to get here first. And I'm going to test to see if we have sound. So, Final Fantasy battle theme. Good. I was just testing. Because I didn't know if the sound was going to actually play when this guy opened his mouth. No idea. It's this battle theme right here in the corner. That one was what I was playing. Anyway, let's see here. What do you call it? Hit buttons there. Yes. Getting started now, I'll say. Down. I typed getting started down and not now. There we go. Hello, everybody. So, I'm just waiting another minute or so before I get started. But we're going to be talking about the expansion they announced today. I'm going to be showing off a stupid thing I got for cheap, which is nice. And we're going to be watching the 45-minute kind of announcement for the new expansion. So that's about it. Let's get started first. So before we watch the new one, I'm gonna watch the old one, because here's the thing: I last played in 2023. Did not see this. This was after my time. After I last played Path of Exile, I played Path of Exile 2, and I enjoyed Path of Exile 2. But unfortunately, didn't get around to it. The original, I mean. So here we go. Now click this. Wow. It said Rayclast is a cursed land, but it said it in such low volume that I couldn't hear anything. It was hilarious. So let me try to turn up the volume. I think what happened is that's Settlers of Calgary. So I'm gonna close that up. I'm gonna go to options. I'm gonna go to sound. I'm gonna turn master volume all the way up. That was it. That was the problem. Okay, let's try that again.
Rayclast is a cursed land. You'd have to be mad to settle here. And yet, welcome to King's March! It's not much yet, but with your help, we can erect the greatest city Rayclast has ever seen. We'll need resources and savvy planning.
Huh.
Soon we'll attract settlers.
It's kept.
Craftsmen, fortune seekers, and of course, pirates. But if we prevail, our ships will be heavy with gold. We hope to achieve the impossible. We hope to build a home.
So that's what the Settlers of Calgary were about. I'll go read the details on that. Afterward, we'll go check the current expansion. I'm just seeing, like, currency exchange. So, in other words, this added gold to the game. Something that Path of Exile 2 has had on launch, basically. But, oh, they kept the grove? Interesting. Okay, so basically, this was a challenge league, and you gathered resources to then get particular items, and then of course there was specific maps that you could run. That's super interesting. Well, anyway, that was the expansion I missed. I was not present for this expansion, and it's super interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close that. I'm gonna log in. Lol. Which one do I want to go with? Yeah, obviously Dagoth Igneous. But what we'll do is I will have a look at the in-game. Then we'll move over to the trailer that launched, and I'm very curious about the trailer. But I want to pop into the game real quick before I do anything else, because I haven't been in the game in some time, and I want to go to my hideout because reasons. Don't worry about it too much. Just waiting for the... I guess because I freshly reinstalled, it's having to load everything for the first time. It makes sense, but also grumble grumble. There we go. And so this would be... Oh, it took all the cosmetics off. That makes sense. And then, of course, Atlas skill points, skill trees. So if I were to go over to my hideout specifically, like if we go over to the guild hideout first, I want to see the guild hideout. I want to see how that works, if it works. Because I have two hideouts. I have a guild, and I have a normal place. I want to see the two. First, the stately hideout. Yes, of course. This is absolutely the perfect type of degeneracy I'm talking about. So yes, this is the guild hideout with its map device, everything there. Let's see. Yeah. Old map, like these are all the old masters who are no longer present. They are all we put her in a cage because like how are your maps? How are your maps? We ignore that. But yeah, okay. So the next thing we have to do is go over to my hideout specifically, which is different from the guild hideout. The guild hideout something there we go. You see, completely different. Map device in the middle, that's the bell tower. Hell yeah. And then over here are the various Calgurians here. It's interesting how they're still here. Okay, so yeah, everything's good. Everything's normal. Yep, there you go. Definitely a less than obvious hiding place. Exactly. But that's it. I'm not going to bother with any of this right now. I'm actually going to quit there for now. I'm going to be playing Craft to Exile soon. Yes, I am. But I'm curious about this Path of Exile expansion that's coming up. So I'm going to exit the game for now. I just wanted to... Well, actually, you know what? We don't have to exit. We just go over to sound and we mute the master volume. There we go. Now we don't have to hear the torches, and everything is good. And we can watch the... What I want to do is I want to watch the trailer here. Before I do that, however, I'm going to show off this stupid thing. So, I got a, what do you call it? They only made 3,300 of these worldwide. They were trying to sell them at $175 a pop. I got this one for closer to 50. Anyway, point is that as you can see, like it's Elder Scrolls Online, Bethesda. Oh boy. Anyway, I actually like the statuette, and I rather like Athelia's character concept. The writing was not good. You could resell it, make a profit. No, I want it. That's the reason I got it. All right, let's see. Looks like I got the certificate of authenticity here, stating that it was completed in 2024, I've got an identification number for it. It is a custom-made product. And this certificate of authenticity is owned by Bethesda. Jeez. I'm just gonna open this up. Hold on. We're taking it out. I think I may have to get a blade. But, jeez. Okay. That's better. It's a cube. They do not want this thing getting damaged. Alright, just happen to have a blade right here. So, here we go. You don't know if that's how yeah. It's, really dumb. Okay. So, let me just finish slashing through this. Hey, did you guys hear about those Nintendo Switches that got stapled on their, like, the Nintendo Switch 2? The boxes got stapled, right? And what was happening was GameStop employees were stapling the like receipts to the box, and it was going through and puncturing the screens of the Switch 2s. Dozens, at the very least, confirmed cases. Dozens of confirmed cases of Switch 2s which screens were just punctured by GameStop employees. Serious business. Anyway. I'm just going to close the outer box up and we're going to have a look inside here. So, whoops. Yeah, careful there is right. This thing almost went flying. Anyway, we pull this up. This looks like Athelia's base. We're going to open this up. Definitely overqualified for the job. Yeah. This thing almost went down. But okay, there she is. I'll do a close up as soon as I get the wings on, because I know for a fact that there's a second piece to this. There we go. These are her glass wings, and they just slot in a hole in the back, as you can see, like on the base. So you just kind of slot that on the crystal base, and then her wings kind of float behind her. At least that's how it's supposed to work. In reality, this doesn't seem to be working at all. Doesn't seem to be fitting, which is funny. Let's see. There we go. We got it. As I was saying. Alright, I'm going to put this foam back inside. Here's what we ended up getting. So, this Athelia, Daedric Prince of Paths statue with her Oblivion Gate womb tattoo. She does not look this good in game at all. Not even close. And it's kind of sad. But I rather like her design. So what we're going to do is we are going to just put this up over here between Tamamo and what's her name? Amber from Genshin Impact. Oh boy. Anyway, we do have the Lich King here. We have to move him to a different spot. I like her design a lot. It's just that she was not written well in game, and her in-game character design looks significantly worse, unfortunately. All right, I think we can move Karama and Kuroneko over and put the Lich King between Y'shtola and Kuroneko there. There we go. That maybe not. The Lich King has to sit up against the map. But yeah. Ahem. My goodness. Ahem. My goodness. You said probably the wind? Yeah, I couldn't see anyone choosing to wear a skirt. Definitely not. That wouldn't happen. All right. So as I was saying, we are going to go ahead and do that here. Probably the wind. Nothing wrong here. Not even a bit. All right, I am going to put all the foam and stuff away. Put the certificate of authenticity in a freaking filing drawer. But aside from that, geez, where'd the foam box go? This is the foam. I'm just gonna put this back inside the Athelia box. But yeah, it's nice that let's put it to the side again. It's nice we got our Athelia right there now. So I'm quite happy about that. I looked at the asking price, like $175, and I said nope. And then when they discounted it to $75, they basically took $100 off. I looked at it and I said, "How much for shipping?" And it said, it said like $110 total when shipping was applied, and I was like, nope. So I looked to see if anyone just had one that they like they had bought and regretted having bought, and managed to get one for like $50 with shipping covered. So I was just like, yep. That was it. And, you know, questionable purchases. It's good stuff. Anyway, aside from that, is there anything else I need to grab before we start? We got our Athelia statue, which is good. Let me put this over here. But yeah, that should do it. I think we're ready to talk Path of Exile then. Let me adjust and grab a couple things. Hold on. I have a standing desk over here now. It's really nice, but it's deployed or it's packed up right now. Basically, I can hit. Here, I'll show you how it works. So I basically do this, and then I lift, and then the standing desk comes up, and the laptop. So that's how I can work while standing. I'm planning on getting a treadmill pad that basically just goes underneath here. I can roll the chair out back behind the screen, so it's no big deal. But my goal is to be able to walk while I work on this laptop. That's my goal. And I've tested it yesterday. I can control a Steam game with Steam in-home streaming with no lag between the laptop and the main PC. I tested it with No Man's Sky while streaming yesterday, and it works. So in theory, I'll be able to live stream not longer but healthier, you know. If I decide to do like a 12-hour live stream, I can spend an hour walking, for example. Maybe not an hour, but you know what I mean. Like, I can do it that way anyway. So, aside from that, I say we should sit down and go. You said you can recommend the treadmill standing desk method. You have a colleague that did it during lockdown, and you sincerely didn't recognize him afterward. Yes. Is that a Marwin skirt? That's a very good question. It's, I'll tell you, in summer, when it's hot, super comfortable. Absolutely. Let's see here. All right, let's get started here.
I'm Jonathan Rogers from Grinding Gear Games, and today we're here to showcase a new expansion for PoE 1. It's certainly been too long since we had one of these. Now we had...
I said there are bicycle pedals for desk workers. Yes, those exist. You weight the full kilt. I have a kilt, but it's packed up safely right now. Whereas the skirt that matches my purple shirt, that's here now. My goodness. It was really fucking funny though. How hold on a second. Let me pull up the thingamabog, because this one this came up yesterday, and I was laughing about it, and Let me just grab the actual comment, because as long as oh, there we go. Bam. And mute. Okay, so I was streaming like that, right? I had the normal headset on, but then I had these little fuzzy ears. These little fuzzy ears here. And there was this guy who commented. He said, honestly, just happy he's not in a full dress and makeup, ironically. That was, don't ask for stuff like that if you don't want a real answer, because sometimes I will give you a real answer. He wasn't ready for a real answer. Anyway, moving on, we are going to go back to Path of Exile. Let's continue.
Had some struggles as a studio for a little while there, but we've got our shit together and we're back in action now. Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas is coming out 1 week from now on the 13th of June, and we're committing right now to a 4-month cycle for both PoE 1 and 2.
And I'm committing to not participate in that cycle, but rather, I am planning on playing this new expansion when it drops. I'm definitely doing that. But as far as the cycle goes, no. I'll probably play like every 2 or 4 leagues. So like every 6 months to a year at most. I like Path of Exile. I just do not have what it takes to commit to playing it constantly. So this upcoming league here will be an exception. You know, I'll be dedicating a week or more to it. You know, maybe even a month. But what do you call it? I won't be doing it every league. So when people wonder, like, you're gonna play the next league? Probably not. Let's go.
That means the next PoE 2 league will be in August, and the next PoE 1 league after that will be in October. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so you'll be able to claim your Skull of Undeath.
That's a lie. I do not have Twitch drops enabled. But that said, I already have other cosmetics, so I don't care.
Undeath helmet skin by following the instructions below. This Skull of Undeath will track and show your total number of kills, deaths, and your KDR. Just because Path of Exile isn't a first-person shooter doesn't mean this isn't important. Proudly or shamefully, link it to your friends or in global chat to show it off.
That is a pretty cool concept, but unfortunately I did not watch the live stream. I'm watching it now. Later.
And with that, let's get to why you're here. Secrets of the Atlas.
You can search 1,000 worlds and still never truly discover who you are. Trust me. I should know. But now, I seek something more tangible. Someone I care for, trapped within the Atlas. Reliving memories, made real. What have you done? Made grotesque.
So, for those who don't know, Path of Exile is like Diablo, or Diablo 2, where you have multiple acts. You go from act to act to act of the story until you reach the final boss and kill it and, you know, quote unquote beat the game. But instead of restarting the game on, you know, the normal Nightmare in Hell, instead there are 10 acts total, and the game ramps up in difficulty starting at Act 6 and again after the game is over, because there's a post-game. So there are a lot of people who will sit down and play Path of Exile, and when they go to play it, they will end up making a suboptimal character, and then all of a sudden, around Act 6, they just get massacred by the monsters there. And the reason for that is because the game ramps up in difficulty. Most of that difficulty can be mitigated by getting specific resist gear pieces, either crafting it yourself or trading for it on I was going to say on the market board, but there's no such thing. Trading for it in chat or using their website specifically to find players willing to trade, which there is a gigantic trading economy. The one of the founding principles of Path of Exile is the economy is sacrosanct. They absolutely will, like, if something happens to like ruin the economy, they will roll back the game if they have to. Like, they've done it before, you know, where they will absolutely positively ensure that the economy is good. And so what they will do is they have leagues, which are like seasons, and at the end of a league, the league characters get dumped into the normal pool of characters. So there's standard league, and then there's whatever special league that they have going on. And so there's always a refreshed economy if you want to go play the current league. And so next week, or whenever it's launching, 7 days from now, 7 days from now, we're going to be playing a refreshed economy in the new expansion, basically. And that's something I'm really looking forward to doing. In just a second, do have to click on a couple things. All right. Anyway, that's all I needed to explain there. So let's go.
Made foul.
No, that's not all I need to explain. Damn it. I was almost done. Okay. So, the way the game has, 10 acts. At the end of that game, you leave the mortal world and go into the Atlas of Worlds, which is basically procedurally generated hellscape, where you will encounter areas from not only the game itself, but like all the previous leagues and stuff. You will encounter mechanics from like all over the game, basically. And mechanics that used to be in the game temporarily and were quote unquote removed get kind of immortalized in the Atlas. So you'll end up encountering things that were never seen in the main campaign. And anyway, the Atlas itself, here, you know what? I'll go back over here to my character and I'll show you the Atlas tree. Can I access the map device itself? Cool, I can. All right, so if I go over here and I look at the Atlas itself, the Atlas appears as I guess I don't have any progress in Standard League, but basically these are maps that you put them into the map device, and then it creates an area for you to explore, usually complete with a boss and everything. But as you continue through, it will like uncover new areas, and this whole thing expands to become like a whole world of areas to explore. And these are, you can see it says tier 10, tier 14. What you end up doing is you take these little stones and you slot them in to these little sockets in the corner, and it will raise the levels of all the maps until you end up accessing really high-level areas that are just stupidly beyond what the normal content is. And you think, okay, well, that's kind of weird. Well, there's an Atlas skill tree. There's a normal skill tree. If you ever seen Path of Exile, like Craft to Exile, that's what this skill tree is. It's like it is how you create your character, and you can see how I had built this character around, I guess, a one with nature. I don't recognize what I did with it, really. Think I Ah, I was doing totems. Okay, fair enough. So I was doing a totem build. Anyway, point is that they have this tree to kind of show off, like show how your character progresses. You know, how like you pick different nodes and those nodes will increase your strength. And so this is how you create a character build, is by selecting nodes. There are also jewel sockets on the edge of the map. Of course, yeah. There's jewel sockets on the edge of the map. If you grab one of these, you can actually expand the tree by putting delirium gems in, and there'll be like an extra set of nodes you can pick that are procedurally generated based on the item that you socket in. So you can really customize the tree and make it gigantic. But there's also a tree that's for the Atlas itself. So if you look at this tree, there's actual there's different types of content, and you can say, oh, hey, I want to focus specifically on Ultimatum. So you can see Dagothur's mask here. Specifically, that is the Trial Master is basically Dagothur. He a servant of chaos. I was gonna say, you can type in different things in the Atlas tree and kind of find, like, if I do alt specifically, you can see the pulsating nodes are ultimatum nodes. So you can guide from the start. You can guide your character up to the ultimatum node specifically to craft an end-game experience that is based around ultimatum. Or maybe you want to fight pinnacle bosses specifically, like the not the Abyss, but say you wanted to fight the Elder and the Shaper, which were like the ultimate bosses when the Atlas was new. They have since been more or less defeated, but they can be revisited, and you can fight uber versions of them. That are stronger and drop more stuff. And so just the same way, like the Conquerors of the Atlas had its own expansion pack, they've been killed, done with, but you can, through the Atlas, revisit them. And what do you call it? That's kind of how it works. Same thing over here. Synthesis, Beyond, and so on. Like, you can just basically pick these different ones. Anyway, you craft your own end game, and so that's kind of how it works. Is you decide how you want to engage with the decades worth of content that the game has, and how you want to get end game loot. Anyway, now that I've explained all of that, let's continue the live stream I didn't see that someone's asking me about.
Someone I care for, trapped within the Atlas. Reliving memories, made real.
What have you done?
Made grotesque. Made foul. These manifestations must be destroyed. Their threads must be eradicated. I must have answers. We must find the originator. We must save my sister.
Okay, so is this the lady who's like, how your maps? May your maps be merciful. Maps. Is that the late? Let me go over to my my guild hideout really quick. Hold on. It's Zana. Yeah. So we go over here, and yeah, she's in the cage. We got her in the cage here. That's great. Like, we got all the other masters here, that the other former masters, but yeah, we got her in the cage there. That's really funny. Okay, so as I was saying, let's get going. I didn't realize.
We must save my sister.
is an illusion made real.
So new pinnacle bosses. And King's March is going to start completed. Okay, so there's no building up King's March. It's just kind of done. No, I get it.
Come, child, drink deep the waters of life.
Okay, that's really cool.
You're either a client or a target.
Target inside.
Job's done.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Your sanity is not promised to you here.
Of course. I mean, we're literally going through an eldritch hellscape that is, what do you call it? That's inside of the Atlas of Worlds. Terrifying. I've done nothing on Standard League at all. It's all empty. I only play the challenge leagues. That's it. Okay. Let's keep going.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile. As you just saw from the trailer, there's a lot to show you. Today, we will take you on a deep dive into the new Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas endgame update. Then, we'll explore the new Challenge League, the Mercenaries of Trathus.
Neat.
After that, we'll cover the integration of gold into PoE 1 and how we're bringing Settlers of Cal.
Integration of gold. That means we can respec without like a gigantic amount of regret. And when I say regret, I mean orbs of regret, a currency that you used to have to farm and or buy en masse. It wasn't practical to farm. You had to buy them en masse. And they were expensive. So respecking your character was a pain in the ass. Gold apparently fixes that. Yes. I did not play Settlers of Calgar. I have last played in 2023. So this is all new to me. I'm going to have 2 expansions worth of shit to do, plus a new league. I am so excited. Anyway, new challenge league makes me happy. Let's go.
Calgar into the core game. Finally, we have a much-awaited upgrade to Betrayal League and a set of...
Okay, for those who don't know about Betrayal, you know the Nemesis system for, what do you call it? Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War? The Nemesis system is where you'd basically have a... you would have a relationship with certain characters. You would... Like, a guy you beat would remember you having beaten him. And you would be able to, slay him for rewards and stuff. Anyway, the Nemesis system is adapted in such a way into Path of Exile, where they took all the former masters, the ones from the beginning of the game. We're talking about, like, Haku and people like that. And all of the former masters have become immortals that you kill and kill and kill, right? And, what do you call it? Yeah, they're immortals, so when you kill them, they'll come back to life, and so on and so forth. So, it's a way in Path of Exile to get lots and lots of money. But, yeah, that's what Betrayal League's all about. So, Pathfinder. Hold on a second. This is my my Burning Crusade bookmark, but ignore that. Which Pathfinder? You talking about the first one or the second edition? Yes. Don't forget about Spelljammer Pirates of Realm Space, okay? This is a good one. This is the gold box. Yorzia Academy. Ignore this one. That's Final Fantasy 14 book. Okay. What was I saying? Yeah. You said prophecy is the skirt will return at least 2 more times. Assuming I'm not wearing a dress, which I do sometimes. Then other times I'm wearing a sport coat. I usually wear sport coats on stream, but last stream I wore an actual factual suit jacket. Usually, like, when people say you're wearing a suit, it's not a suit. But in this niche case, I was wearing an actual suit. Yes. It's true. Skirt suit when? Probably never. The jacket doesn't complement the skirt. They don't work well together. Anyway. So, let me see here. No big deal here. I'm just going to go back to my regular hideout real quick. And then, whoops. Okay, so I think that'll just about do it. Yeah, so when Betrayal League, that was the Nemesis system. And, neat.
Of quality of life improvements.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll wrap up by discussing our boss kill race event, showing you our new supporter packs, and ending with a live Q&A session where Ziggy D will ask Jonathan and I your questions from Twitch chat. In Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas, strange rifts have begun to appear across the Atlas. Zana has returned and appears to be trapped within. Partway through the endgame, you will meet Egan, an intelligent man of mysterious heritage. These tears in reality he has discovered are actually threads of memory, distorted and made real by the Atlas. Egan is able to create a link to these memory threads and open portals to them. Working with Egan, you must step through and find Zana, or whatever remains of her. Okay, so that's the story background.
Yeah, I'm super interested in this because I made fun of Zana for the longest time. How you maps. May your maps be merciful. Maps. And then I remember that she was around for the Conquerors of the Atlas, which I did. And then she was just kind of gone afterward. It was she was replaced by that guard who's like, well, we got to go into the Atlas and kick some ass. My scouts are detecting, sorry, my engineers are detecting a divination card in this map. I have no idea how they do that, but I know they did. I wasn't a huge fan, to be honest. I really wasn't a giant fan of the dude they replaced Zana with. Anyway.
But how does this expansion actually work? In the Secrets of the Atlas, the pursuit of Zana with Egon is a new storyline that is introduced in high-tier maps. Upon meeting Egan and discovering the tier,
oh, shit. Okay, so basically we're going to go to the Atlas like normal, and then when we reach high-tier maps, that's when the new story will start. In other words, the new content is not for people, like, for casual players. It is something that is, like, you have to have a good build, and you have to be pushing high-tier maps, or it's just not going to work. Fair enough. Means that I'll have to pick my build with that in mind.
He will then transfer it to your map device and reveal this on your Atlas, a thread of memories. In order to now access each map on the thread, you simply need to talk to Egan when you're ready, and he'll open the areas in sequence. These areas can be fully influenced by your Atlas tree, scarabs, fragments, and everything of the sort.
That's awesome. So this is just the Atlas expansion? I know it is. We're talking about the Atlas expansion. Point is, though, that sometimes you could get new, like when they'd expand the Atlas, you'd encounter stuff in tier like 3 or 4. They specified high tier, so yeah. But this is interesting. Let me go back a second. Let me go back a second. Hold on. Okay. So you don't have to spend a map to go do his quest. His quests are accessible irregardless. And rather, you can use items to enhance his stuff.
Ready, and he'll open the areas in sequence.
Yes, I know the league mechanics are in all areas, but we haven't gotten to those yet. Anyway, that's cool. So you can use like scarabs and fragments. The sacrifice fragment will you can use force sacrifice fragments to open a portal to Queen at Zeri, but instead of doing that, you can like put 1 or 2 in, and it will increase the quantity, I believe. It's not quality, I don't think. It's the quantity of stuff and monsters that spawn in a map. It's really nice to be able to like put sacrifice fragments in.
These areas can be fully influenced by your Atlas tree, scarabs, fragments, and everything of the sort.
Neat. So basically, if you want to juice, like, he creates quest areas, but you can juice those quest areas the same way you juice a map, you know, by adding in, like, miscellaneous items to boost it.
As you work your way along the thread, you will discover that these maps have manifested dangerous threats, influenced by the memories of Zana herself.
Of course.
Monsters here are imbued with memory petals. Defeat them to absorb this power, which can be unleashed as a special ability during combat. Different maps on the thread have different abilities, and these abilities appear on an additional mini skill bar next to your regular skills.
So you get... It's Final Fantasy XIV's duty actions. You know, Eureka, Baja, and Occult Crescent, where you go into one of those areas and you can equip your Lost Finds holster. It's that. It, like, literally, you go into the map, and there are 2 skills that get juiced by petals. And so you acquire petals by killing enemies, and then you use a limit break. That's neat.
For example, Memory of Disbelief will cause all affected monsters to stop dropping equipment items, meaning they can now only drop more valuable items, like currency and maps.
That... Just specify what kind of loot you want? Okay. Fair enough.
Memory of Panic will make all affected monsters revive immediately after death, which means you can get twice as much experience and drops from them.
Yeah.
And Memory of Impatience will cause all surrounding enemies to give you their souls, temporarily increasing your power. As you progress further into the thread of memories, the maps can have more than one memory, and thus you can have more than one powerful ability. As you gather memory petals, you can use these powers together. Each skill costs its own amount of memory petals. So using the examples above, you can first use Memory of Impatience to become way more powerful, then use Memory of Panic to prepare them to revive when they are slain, then use Memory of Disbelief to cause them to drop better, more valuable items. Finally, obliterate them all. The Memory of Panic will kick in, causing them to revive, and then wipe them out again, allowing you to get all the experience and enhanced drops twice. There are many combinations of these powers, so you'll have to carefully consider how they best work together.
Yeah, it looks really fun. I'm sure I will misuse those powers and squander them, but that's me, okay? Guarantee you other people who I know will make better use of them, and that's cool. I'm more interested in where these memories lead.
That's not the only extra layer of content juicing these maps offer. As you defeat the boss of each map along the thread, you are presented with an altar.
Isn't this the menu you get when you decide between the Abyss dude or the Celestial dude? Like, you choose... I was pretty sure, like, you hit one of those and a bunch of Eldritch Terrors break out. The Eater and the Exarch. Yeah. I don't remember the names for things, but I remember the concepts. Again, it's been a couple years since I played. but increases the petals found, or increases, yeah, the future maps gain this thread. That's super interesting. That is super interesting. Let me click another couple buttons before we go. I'm getting distracted by shenanigans. Shenanigans! Okay, so... what was it? Sorry, I'm getting sent messages and I'm looking at it like, what? Alright, I think we're good. Thank you for waiting. Let's go.
This alter will apply a modifier to all following maps in the thread.
Okay, it has to be in the thread. So in other words, the guy will create the map and then you have to like juice it or not.
And these will stack as you go. So the deeper you delve into a memory, the more mods you will have.
Fair.
This, combined with the special abilities, will allow for some of the most juice maps ever run in Path of Exile.
I love how he's using community terminology. Like, I was talking about juicing maps, but like the developers are cued in. That's what I'm saying. Is they understand their community at least to a certain degree, and that's neat. That's really neat.
Let's take a look at some of the alter mods. You are always presented with two choices and must pick one. This mod, for example, will cause some rare monsters to be possessed by tormented spirits.
So they're stronger, harder to kill, but they drop better loot.
Where this mod makes Kerak modifiers free to craft.
Really? Huh. Kerak like there's a whole area. Let me pull this up. If we go to the Atlas tree and we go to the middle here. Whoops, I closed the Atlas tree. So we go to the Atlas tree. We click here. That's cancel everything. I was trying, that was the little Xbox. There you go. Okay, so assuming you go through the middle here and you grab these adjacent map drop chance nodes. Then you come up here through the middle. And these are Kerak nodes where you can get like scouting reports and stuff. But more importantly, you get Kerak missions. Let's see, which one is this? Scouting reports and maps. Okay, so yeah, basically Kerak himself. I could have sworn, like, where's the Kerak modifier? Is it these? No. I'm obviously there we go. Kerak missions. Okay, so apparently, if we wanted to craft. Yeah, it's those. Okay, cool. So, in other words, it would make these free. So, like, Fortune Favors the Brave would be like 3. It would cost 3 Chaos Orbs, and in theory, you'd be able to do one of these without any cost at all, and that's neat. Like, yeah. So, if you wanted to upgrade one of those abilities, they would cost you nothing to. Or sorry, the next map in the thread, it would cost you nothing to add an upgrade to it. All right, let's see. Is there anything else I wanted to do over here? Yeah, so let's go.
Both of these apply to all subsequent maps in the thread. The final map in each thread is a true challenge, with all the alter mods applying to it and guarded by a powerful boss. Each of these bosses are familiar, but dreamlike.
Okay, so that's Innocence, the deceitful god. So this is... When they said familiar, what they meant is they're reusing the asset of Innocence, but he's warped. Like, he's an alternate reality version warped by the maps. So he's an eldritch terror that just looks like Innocence. Cool.
Drawn from Zana's memories and warped by the Atlas into something.
I'm sorry, but that's fucking funny. Okay, let's go.
Very different and terrifying. In this map, you will fight the pinnacle boss, Cirrus. Fueled by Zana's affectionate memories of him, his enhanced abilities can prove to be a unique challenge.
I liked the Cirrus boss battle. That was a good time.
If you manage to defeat Cirrus, or one of the other warped memory bosses, they will drop a map fragment, which Egan can use to delve deeper into the memory tears. With these, you can access a set of 3 new pinnacle bosses. In this arena, the Moment of Reverence, Zana is reliving a memory of her father, Valdo, giving a passionate speech in Oriath. The Atlas distorts this memory of her father as a powerful, influential man and manifests those emotions into a twisted nightmare, the incarnation of dread.
Yeah. New boss. Good time.
Another memory created is the incarnation of neglect and the incarnation of fear. Good luck, Exiles.
So
Of
3
course,
pinnacle bosses.
If you are brave and strong enough to defeat them, each of these new pinnacle bosses have new unique items befitting them.
Well, yeah, I mean, her father became the Shaper. He, and then was possessed by the Elder. That was insane. Let me see here. New Zealand, yes. Why don't we have the Path of Exile mobile yet? That's what I want to know. Is why don't we have Path of Exile mobile? Like, it was one of the best intros ever for a what do you call it? Yeah, it was one of the best trailers ever. I think it's broken. But yeah. Here, hold on. Okay. This was right after Diablo Immortal, and everyone said, don't you guys have phones and shit? Right? Listen to this.
So mobile games are kind of bullshit, right?
That's how you introduce your mobile game. That's how you do it.
Pay-to-win microtransactions, time gates, energy bars, random nag screens, notifications, video ads. You get the idea. There's really a lot of evil garbage going on in mobile games today. But in 2012, when you first released Path of Exile on PC, you really could have said the same thing about a lot of free-to-play games there too.
So this is what it looks like. There are 8 skill binds, 5 flasks, the same gear you'd expect to see on any Path of Exile game. One of the major benefits.
So what's super interesting
is the tech we've developed. It's allowing us to improve our tools and engine and system across the board for all platforms.
Okay, so important context for this next quote. Blizzard farmed out Diablo Immortal to NetEase, a Chinese company. Okay?
Our goal is to bring Path of Exile to mobile with absolutely zero compromise.
We wanted to make something that is a real Path of Exile game. We didn't just farm it out to an external studio. It's developed entirely by a team here in New Zealand.
There you go. It hasn't come out yet, but they were cutting pretty deep with that trailer. I do hope that they can eventually deliver something good. That would be nice. But let's go back and continue.
Of course, if you are brave and strong enough to defeat them, each of these new pinnacle bosses have new unique items befitting them. If you slay the incarnation of fear, you might be lucky enough to find the Starcaller unique abyssal axe. We're gonna show this one because it's straight up badass. The Starcaller axe is a weapon that can harness the power of the stars themselves to deal immense damage. What makes it shine, however, is that on melee crit, it casts Starfall, a new skill. With the right build, you can carpet entire areas and wipe out screens of enemies as you rain down the elements upon them.
That's normal.
Another item you may find...
That ability they talked about. That is not really out of the ordinary. It's pretty basic, pretty common, I think.
And this one is my favorite, is the Wine of the Prophet unique flask.
Okay, let's have a look. Extra charges, increased charges per use, casts a random divination buff. The fact that it increases rarity of drops by 30% is really nice, but a random divination buff.
It consumes a lot of charges, but every time you use it, you draw a random divination card. This card appears above you and correlates to a powerful buff. If you draw the Escape card, you'll gain increased movement speed. Or maybe you'll draw the Doctor, which will cause you to gain the modifiers of slain rares you kill. Effectively, you can think of this unit.
The modifier of slain rares you kill. So you can become a bullet hell mini boss. Or you could reflect damage. Or a ton of the other things that mini bosses can do. That's kind of insane. Howdy, Ark. Good to see you. All right, let's see.
Unique as being many other uniques all in one. There are many cards to draw, each with varying degrees of power to grant. Okay, but let's get back to the Atlas.
The maps themselves,
After defeating all 3 new pinnacle bosses, you'll be able to find new memory-influenced Tier 16 maps.
Wait a second. So this is content... I thought the whole point of a pinnacle boss was to be the end. What they're saying is, no. Killing the pinnacle bosses now unlocks more content. I'm assuming there'll be Uber versions of those. Here's my assumption. Inside these influenced maps, you will get fragments to create or access an Uber version of the pinnacle bosses. That's my assumption. Let's see.
These maps come with the previously mentioned special abilities and monsters infused with memory pedals, but can also roll the same modifiers typically found on Tier 17 maps, making them far more rewarding.
Yeah.
With all these new memory maps comes a new item mechanic. Items in these maps can drop with memory strands, and will have a random amount up to 100. This does a few things. When you identify the item, it will increase the tiers of modifiers your item has. Generally speaking, the more memory strands, the better the item will be.
Yeah. Tier 1 life. Yeah? Holy crap. So what happens, you can get items that are like tier 8, and they're kind of garbage. But it's a level of randomness inside of an item. So you might get like a rare, which is really powerful, but then you would roll really crappy tiers inside of it. So it isn't nearly as good as you thought it was, you know? Like you may get a tiny amount of life instead of 107 life, you know? So what they're saying is the more memory strands, the closer to tier 1 those items will probably be. Like, it influences their RNG, how they spawn.
On top of this, whenever you're crafting that item using currency orbs to replace or add modifiers, such as alterations, chaos, and so forth, it will consume some memory strands to make the crafted mods more powerful. The new pinnacle bosses also drop new crafting currencies, which can be used to manipulate the amount of memory strands on an item. The Orb of Remembrance will let you add memory strands to any normal equipment. So if you have your perfect base to craft on, and it doesn't already have memory strands, you can add some before crafting it. The Orb of Unravel.
Okay, so what they're saying is, that it's going to be easier to craft, like, perfect gear. And that's going to push the game's power creep a bit. I'm assuming there's going to be a reason for this.
Will consume all remaining memory strands on an item to randomly upgrade its mod tiers. This orb's effectiveness is based on the number of memory strands it consumes. The Orb of Intention can be used on memory influence maps to reduce item drops, but improve the chance to find items with memory strands. In the process of adding these new currency items, we realized something was missing. The Shaper and the Elder did not have their own Exalted Orbs. This has now been rectified. Both bosses now have Exalted Orbs, which can add their influence to an item. Zana was there from the beginning, when the Shaper Pinnacle fight was first added. She helped defeat the Elder, and she was a critical part of the Conqueror's storyline.
Yep.
Now, with all 6 influence types having their own Exalted Orbs, the cycle is complete.
Yeah. So you basically, if you want a specific modifier that is specific to a particular bot, like, all right, each of these, like, these enemies, the Conquerors, the Shaper, the Elder, all of them have their own, like, domains, their own areas. And items that drop in those domains will have specific modifiers to them. They will appear, they'll get a little banner over them. I'm trying to see if I have any. The answer is no. But if, okay, here we go. This fractured item, you see that little banner? Like, if you look at these other items, they don't have any banners, right? They just have like a, sorry, the banner doesn't have any little symbols next to it. But if you look over here, the banner has 2 symbols on either side of it. And that means that it's special, right? That means it has an influence. And so influenced items are able to roll very specific things. And so what they're doing is they're basically giving you the ability to apply that influence to any, like, item that you're crafting, basically. So that you don't just have to rely on RNG from area drops, but rather you can go kill one of those pinnacle bosses to get the influence to craft what you want. It makes it more reliable. Obviously, you can still damn well get lucky with drops, and that's probably going to be the best way to get your stuff. But if you're looking to craft a perfect item for a perfect purpose, that's how you're going to do it.
It's almost as if we could now do some sort of new, epic, unique item to interact with them. In other news, there of course has to be Atlas passive tree support.
Oh, fuck off. He just went... He's basically saying there's going to be a new pinnacle boss that's going to drop something that, or it's going to use all the orbs. Let's find out. So the Atlas tree, I showed this off earlier, is how you decide how you want to interface with your end game. You craft your own end game based on how you progress through the Atlas tree. So, by going and, say, picking this talent, you will be predisposed to fight the Maven. Maybe you really like Blight League more than anything else. You can go over here and pick these nodes in order to craft an end game that is based around Blight. And you can basically do that everywhere. Like, you can decide, oh, I'm a huge fan of Breach. You know how much of a fan of Breach I am? Magic hand controller stand. I really like Breach. Anyway, so what were we saying? Yeah. So the Atlas tree. It's how you craft your endgame.
Port for this new endgame content. Let's take a look at a few things we're adding.
Yeah.
The Grasp the Past notable passive skill increases the chance for the amount of memory strands on items dropped in your memory influence maps to be lucky. This means it will roll the number of memory strands twice, keeping the highest value. By allocating...
Okay, so basically, if we look at my tree, this is in my tree, the Shaper, Elder, Remnants of the Past stuff is going to get, like, pushed off to the side over here. It's gonna be, like, pushed over here to the... Yeah, and then there's new stuff that's going to be added here and then up here. That's what they're going to do, is they're just going to expand the tree, which is nice. It's very, very nice.
Traumatic experience, remembered kindness, or educated upbringing, you'll decrease the chance of finding memory threads that lead to specific bosses, meaning you'll have better chances at finding the memory threads you would like to run.
In other words, as I said before, you get to craft your own end game. If you don't like fighting the fear boss, that educated upbringing there will actually decrease your chance to find items that lead to that particular boss. You may think, well, what about, what happens then? I don't get as many threads? No. You find other threads in its place so that you can hard focus one of the 3 bosses if you want. It's built in such a way that you can decide how your end game goes. Like, if you wanted to, say, find Delirium exclusively, you can pick up these nodes and only be fighting Delirium, or like having a greater chance to do Delirium over anything else, you know. It's a really cool concept. I like the Atlas tree, what they're doing with it.
This is especially useful if you want to target farm a specific boss because of its unique item drops. In sum, the secrets of the Atlas will have you questioning what is real as you attempt to free Zana from warped memories scattered throughout the Atlas.
Okay.
You'll fight new Guardian and Pinnacle bosses tormenting her, find crazy new Pinnacle uniques, combine and unleash memory petal-empowered skills, juice maps to new heights, and craft powerful new items.
Yeah.
While we were showing all the juicy rewards from the new endgame system...
Gold! So, the cool thing about gold is that you, like, the only thing that I know about it that's really good is you can respec using gold. Before, you had to farm up these items called Orbs of Regret. And when I say farm, I mean trade for other players because they're basically unfarmable. You had to be lucky. Orbs of Regret, though, get replaced with gold for the most part.
You might have noticed that a lot of gold was dropping. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Gold was introduced during the Settlers of Calgar expansion.
I didn't do that one.
It funded the development and operations of King's March, along with various new features such as the currency exchange, the black market, and the passive respec system with Faustus.
That's it. So you spend gold to remove assigned passive skill tree points that you can then take those freed up points and use them to apply to other like talents. It costs a lot, obviously. You know, you can't just do it infinitely, but it does make respecking more feasible, especially when you combine it with Orbs of Regret or whatever, you know. It's it's additive. So
those features offered by Faustus will be here to stay, along with some of the other services King's March has to offer. We'll get more into that later, but don't worry. King's March has already been completed. There will be no more town building.
Fair enough.
Like before, gold will be used for town services, but we're also adding a new way to use it in the upcoming league. It's time to talk about Mercenaries of Trathus.
Okay, so for those unaware, what they were talking about up until now has been expansion content. Basically, core game features that are basically here to stay. So all of that Atlas stuff, that is getting put to that's the end game. That is the highest tier of stuff we can do. The Mercenaries of Trathus, on the other hand, that is going to be applied to all the areas in the game. It's like you're going to be able to access this content from level 1. Like when you boot up the new league and you create a character that is league specific, this content will start from the word go. So this is available to all players, not just in-game.
In this league, you will meet veterans who have traveled all the way from the lawless cities of Trathus. They're ready to offer their sinister services, but not for free. You will encounter these mercenaries as you journey through Rayclast, one in each area. They have their own personalities and come with different builds, skills, and items already equipped.
Right.
After meeting them, as per the Trathan code, they will challenge you to a duel, a test of strength and conviction. Before beginning the duel, you will be offered an overview.
You get to see their gear set, their level, their primary stat, and you can hire them for a certain amount of gold. Take item or exile. I need to know about this.
View of the mercenary you've encountered. Here, you can see the gear they have equipped, the skills they employ, and any support effects augmenting those skills.
Yeah.
You must
So like
now
players.
make a choice. You can...
So they're just like players. They have a skill gem, and they have augments. Like, you would socket into your gear. It's all identical. Like, they're players, essentially. They're NPCs that use player systems.
hire their services, take one of their items, or exile them. If you choose to hire them, for a gold cost, they will accompany you as a skilled combatant to assist you in fighting monsters throughout Rayclast. Once you've decided, you can begin the duel. This is a great opportunity to test them, as you don't want to be out of pocket with a useless rookie. However, they're testing you too. They also don't want to be working for an amateur. So, what items might they be using? Generally speaking, mercenary gear is more powerful than what you'd normally find from defeating monsters.
Fair enough.
They've been crafting their items too. They can also come equipped with unique items.
Of course they
Those
can.
that would make sense for the skills they are using.
Yeah.
There are even some new unique items that can only be obtained from defeating them.
So in other words, they looked at like character builds and they actually built an algorithm to generate mercenary NPCs that use effective character builds. And you can hire them. Wow.
One such unique is Scornflux. These boots combine agility with the mastery of the arcane. While equipped, increases to cast speed from Arcane Surge also apply to movement speed, which is worth noting is now 20% inherently from Arcane Surge, up from 10. They also grant Arcane Surge when you use a movement skill. This allows for some speedy spellcasters. Sometimes you may meet particularly infamous Trathan mercenaries, bearing the name of their house. These mercenaries descend from the 4 major death trade families in Trathus. They are less common, but have far better items. And they are also the sole source of items with new, infamous modifiers, unseen before in Rayclast.
Okay. So it looks like once you get a mercenary you like, you should be clicking take item and choosing an item you want and then fighting them in the duel in order to get that item. That's like, it means they'll always be useful. Like, there's never going to be a time in which you come upon a mercenary and go, I already got a mercenary. I don't want to fucking need one of these guys. No, like, they are item dispensaries where you can choose to take an item from them and then fight them in a duel. When you win, you get the item. So yeah, they're item dispensaries.
Such as these gloves, which convert all of your minions' fire damage to chaos damage. Or this helmet, which causes nearby enemies to take more physical damage as you gain more fortification. If you're not swayed by any of their equipped gear, however, you can always challenge them for the contents of their pockets. If you lose the duel, don't worry. You don't need to give them an item. You aren't bound to Trathan tradition like they are. However, you are bound to Rayclast tradition, so you'll just die.
Well, not really.
While playing in a party, each player can decide whether or not they want to participate in combat against the mercenary. For each player that opts in, the mercenary gets more difficult. But if they're defeated, each player has a 50% chance to get a random reward, which is usually currency items from the mercenary's pouch. Alternatively, party members that opt out of the fight can spectate and cheer you on. Or they might wish for your demise, so they can pick up that allocated divine waiting off screen.
Dead. Good.
Let's say you won the duel, like their items, and have decided to hire them. What combat skills do they bring to the table? Each mercenary has an archetype. Here, this mercenary is an Eruptor, which perfectly couples with my slower, more aura-focused Scion. This mercenary is highly aggressive, and will get a lot of benefit from the auras and buffs I provided. When I'm playing a more aggressive character myself though, I'll want a mercenary with a bit more resilience and utility. I've just run into a Striker, who can spawn with Vigilant Strike. And if you're lucky, a very rare golden support that causes the Fortify granted by his Vigilant Strike to apply to me as well. He will also frequently use Enduring Cry, taunting enemies off of me, and operating as a tanky frontline while I blitz off damage from the back.
Man, I mean, I know Diablo 2 had mercenaries. Like, I've used them in Diablo 2. But, the idea is you had to equip your mercenary with a few items, you know, like a chest piece, a helmet, and like, what 2 rings or something like that? A point, like a weapon, and I must be misremembering. Point is that in Diablo 2, like, the mercenary system was bare bones. It was only really useful in normal, and in higher tier difficulties like Nightmare or Hell, what you'd do is you'd get an Act 2 mercenary specifically for the aura they provide, and you would that's all you'd do, is you just have an aura producing tier 2 or Act 2 mercenary in Diablo 2, and you just give them good gear so they wouldn't die, but mostly just teleport, knowing that they would snap to your location every time you teleported, if I remember correctly. Maybe that was a mod. Point is that the mercenary system in Diablo 2 was super bare bones compared to this. This is an entire league built around the mechanic. I really, really hope they put this into core. Obviously, I won't know until we actually play through this, but it would be really nice to actually have mercenaries in, core Path of Exile. But yeah, this league's going to be fun.
Sometimes when you fight a mercenary, you may notice the skills they're using are different from normal. For example, this sniper is using a Trathan version of Siege Ballista. If you're lucky, you will be able to select it as your reward when challenging them. Then defeat them, and they'll drop the Trathan gem as promised. You can only have one mercenary.
Hey. Hold on, I need to read this. Okay, so it's a Ring of Ballista, right. So it's basically it's a Trathan-specific skill. Fair enough. I'm just imagining seeing these things in Heist. You know the Heist alternate gym types? Probably not going to happen, but it'd be hilarious if we cracked open a Heist and what do you call it? One of those cases, and inside would be one of these. Or a variation on one of these. That'd be great. Anyway, let's go.
Gem as promised. You can only have one mercenary accompanying you at a time, but up to 3 total in your service.
I just thought one would replace the other. I didn't realize like you can store 3 in your hideout. This is spectacular.
The other 2 will wait patiently in town. Having varied options is useful, as there may be situations where you need specific backup. like a difficult boss fight. Any of your mercenaries you have active, or in your reserves, can have their equipment replaced with items of your choosing.
Okay. What this means is that you look at their build and go, oh, this unique would turn them into an unstoppable killing machine. And so you go you go look up the PoE market, find that unique, trade for it, give it to the mercenary, and turn them into an unstoppable killing machine.
They don't level up, so you will want to be looking out for more skilled and more powerful mercenaries as you advance through the campaign and endgame. If your mercenary falls in combat, you will need to return to town and spend some gold on healing supplies to get them back on their feet.
Fair enough.
Then perhaps consider giving them some upgrades, if you think it's deserved. I just wanted to clarify, mercenaries do not lose their equipment when defeated.
Yeah.
If your merc buddy consistently fails you, you can just dismiss them and find a new, more resilient ally.
You walk your path, I'll walk mine.
Earlier, I mentioned you could exile mercenaries. If you keep running into a mercenary archetype and you think, man, this guy stinks, the gear is trash and they have no auras, you can then choose to exile them. If you win the duel, they'll be forced to leave with their tail between their legs, and you won't encounter that archetype again for a while.
For 9 encounters.
Now, alongside these new Trathus arrivals, we shouldn't forget about the recent Kalguran ones too. As we mentioned earlier, the Settlers update introduced gold-based respeccing of passive points.
So every act just lets you respec. That's gonna really help people out when they get to Act 6 and they get raffle stomped by the first major enemy that uses fire, and they don't realize they've been blighted by Kitava, and they have negative fire resistance. And then the Tukohama priest just shoots like a lava totem at them. Fair enough, fair enough. This is a good thing for the entire game. Yeah. I mean, admittedly, people will be trading less for Orbs of Regret, but lower demand means lower cost. It means if you really want to just, like, clean slate your character, chances are you'll be able to afford Orbs of Regret far more easily.
You can now do so by talking to a number of NPCs throughout Rayclast, starting with Bestil and Lionized Watch.
Okay.
Black market item gambling, previously just available in Kingsmarch, is now available in each town at the same NPC.
Gambling!
This lets you buy randomly generated item bases for gold. Very useful if you're stuck for upgrades or searching for a specific unique.
Yeah.
The currency exchange will be returning too. Starting from Lionized Watch in Act 6, you'll be able to find Faustus, who can help facilitate these trades. Now, after almost a year of building, Johan is finally satisfied with the upgrades made to the town, and now its services can be used to their full effect. Kingsmarch is going core, but there will be no more town building. As you start running maps in the endgame, you'll start to find different ore veins, which Kalguran workers can mine for you. The shipping mechanic invites you to send these ores and crops to Karui and Kalguran ports, and they'll return rewards in kind.
So I didn't do Settlers of Kalgur. This is kind of insane. You can take resources and sell them to other other cultures. Fair enough. Like actual trade, as in like international trade.
To Karui and Kalguran ports, and they'll return rewards in kind. By sending shipments, you'll receive different items, but by sending to Karui ports, you will also receive tattoos, which can be used on your passive tree to change what stat.
Oh shoot, the afterlife was never came back, right? The Karui afterlife. So like that whole game mode where you fought like ancestors in a tournament, that those rewards have been put into the Karui port for trading, because the tattoos were part of that system. So they're taking the rewards from that old system and they're putting them, they're reintroducing them into the game. That's really cool.
They grant. The Kalgurin ports will be sending back rune grafts, which is a new passive tree mechanic that replaces the runesmithing service previously offered by the town. These are similar to the runesmithing service.
Okay.
Previously offered by the town. These are similar to
20% chance for a skill to not invoke cooldown.
But instead of replacing stat nodes, they replace a passive tree mastery node.
A notable? Okay, so it's one of those multi-choice mastery nodes in the event that, wow, that's that is some utility. It means if there are no mastery node choices that you like, you can replace them entirely with a new mechanic that is procedurally generated off of an item. That's kind of crazy.
Stat nodes, they replace a passive tree mastery node. For example, Runegraft of the Bound reduces bonuses gained from boots, but increases bonuses gained from gloves. Runegraft of the River has a chance to recover your life to full if you reach low life. And the Runegraft of Time, which has a chance for your cooldown skills to instantly recover from their cooldown. Which I will note includes cooldowns on your triggers, just in case you wanted to trigger even more spells. There are many...
Okay, so there's such a mechanic in the game where you can trigger a spell cast when you take damage. And you may think to yourself, well, how is that useful? Well, you can get another item like a unique that hurts you. And it can trigger the it can trigger a spell cast, which will trigger a unique effect that will hurt you. An infinite loop. And that infinite loop can break the game to the point you get disconnected. They know this is a feature, so some of those triggers have cooldowns now. But you're going to be able to reduce the cooldowns with the binding.
Other rune grafts, which cover a wide range of different builds and stats. Some are more common, and others rarer. You can only use one of a given type at a time, but you can use them on any mastery on your passive tree, which can be particularly useful for off-class investment.
Yeah.
Isla has continued to make modifications to the Recombinator. She has developed a new method of recombination that you may recognize from Path of Exile 2.
What's that?
For those unfamiliar, this method allows you to decide which modifiers on the two input items you want to try merge together, and it has a success chance you can see.
Holy crap. That's great. I want the physical damage and the physical damage so I can have a... Yeah.
This method can result in the items being destroyed. However, it is a good option to use when trying to create items with fewer mods to use as crafting projects.
Physical damage, so it took both of those modifiers and combined them into a single item. That's another way to craft stuff.
Given the existing recombinating mechanic was very powerful for top-end crafting, we didn't want to remove it. We have kept it, and you can now choose to use it the old way or the new way. By letting fate decide, it will combine the two items randomly. There is no risk of destroying either item, but it will be less predictable.
That's fancy.
As Settlers is now a core mechanic, we've also added Atlas passive tree support.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I'm noticing that you see my Atlas points? They have Atlas skill tree 3. I don't have that. I can't pick from more than one Atlas skill tree. In other words, multiple Atlas skill trees? 3 of them? I don't have that. I have nothing there. Okay then.
For example, if you wanted to gather more Verisium ore, you could take this notable. Each ore has a similar node. Refiner's Bargain converts items dropped by possessed monsters into thaumaturgic dust, sulfite into random ores, and life force into random crops. We've also added a set of Kalguran scarabs, so you can add more ore deposits, increase the rarity of monsters that guard ore deposits to at least magic,
yeah,
or gather smelted bars from ore you mark instead of ores.
That's
to sum it
so
all
cool.
up, Kingsmarch is now a thriving town where you can employ a swath of workers to collect resources, refine ores, craft items, and run maps for you. Send shipments of resources in exchange for tattoos and rune grafts, using those to modify your...
I hadn't thought about having NPCs run maps for you, but I just imagine, hey, I'm going to send you into an eldritch terror reflection of our current world. About 80% of the people who go into these go insane and get eaten by monstrosities beyond our understanding. But you look like a pretty strong sort, so I think you're going to do fine. Bring the items back to me.
Your passive tree to an extent never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Following on from that, we've also made a substantial rework to another important mechanic.
So I mentioned Betrayal was the Nemesis system from like Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War. They put that into Path of Exile. They took all the former masters, the ones that they replaced, with and made them into like persistent characters that you can kill or spare and interrogate, you know, based on certain mechanics, and they will produce loot for you. Anyway.
Betrayal. As a refresher, and to explain to new players, let's briefly explain what Betrayal is. Betrayal is a mechanic introduced in Act 9 and tells the story of Jun Ortoy and her investigation of the Immortal Syndicate. This is a mysterious group of exiles who can seemingly come back from death.
Yes.
You must help Jun to uncover their leader, the Syndicate Mastermind. The Immortal Syndicate is organized into 4 divisions: transportation, fortification, research, and intervention.
Yes.
As you encounter the Immortal Syndicate members, you'll gain intelligence for each of these divisions to discover the location of their leaders, tracking them to their safe houses. Defeating the division leaders at their safe houses will reward you with intelligence on the Syndicate Mastermind.
That's right.
In your journey to track down the Syndicate leader, you'll manipulate the members of the Immortal Syndicate to change divisions, form friendships and rivalries, and even banish them from the Syndicate for a time. Historically, after encountering and defeating the Syndicate Mastermind, the state of the Immortal Syndicate would reset.
Yes.
Requiring you to start from the beginning of the investigation again.
That sucked.
This has always been a difficult decision for players and can often feel bad. Do you fight the Mastermind for a chance at the special loot, or keep farming the safe houses that you've spent so long setting up? Well,
yeah.
In the
guarantee you, like I spent more time farming the safe houses. Even when I had access to the Mastermind, I usually didn't kill her. I ended up killing her in my last playthrough just to show it off. But you know, after that, when I encountered subsequent enemies, I did not kill the mastermind. It's true.
The secrets of the Atlas expansion, we've split out the mastermind to be completely separate from the core mechanic. The boss is now accessible through a new fragment that has a chance to drop from the safe house leaders at high levels.
So in other words, you can continue to farm the safe houses as much as you want, and then there's just a chance at getting a map to the mastermind's lair that you use in the end game. Fair enough.
The mastermind no longer resets the state of the Immortal Syndicate. You can now build your betrayal board to your liking, optimize it, do mastermind fights, and reap the rewards without having to lose all your progress every time.
Yeah.
The boss fight itself has also been improved, now with significantly fewer immunity phases and new rewards.
Thank God.
By the way, if you're a new player to Path of Exile 1, don't worry about all this detail. This content is optional, and you can discover and engage with it at your own pace.
That's right, it is.
The Mastermind still has a chance to drop a Veiled Orb. Now,
so the the Immortal Syndicate is completely optional. You get access to it in like Act 8 or 9, something like that. And Act 8, yeah. Point is, you get access to it like really late, and you can just like continue the main quest and ignore the story triggers for it, like the side quests, and just trample over to Act 10 if you want. You do not have to engage with it. But let me see here. I was just I saw it said AFK mode is on. Auto reply, like this character's AFK. I was like, I just saw the pop up and I was like, wait, what? But yeah. So same thing for Heist, same thing for Einar's little menagerie. Like all of these mechanics are something you can choose to access as much or as little as you want. Delve. I just remembered Delve is the feature I want. Crap. Hold on. Path of Exile General. I'm gonna say Delve. That's what I wanted to do forever and ever. Sorry. Someone asked me earlier, like, hey, what mechanic did you want to run, you know, for your end game? It's like, no, I just want to run Delve forever, man. Just I just want yeah. For those who don't know, let me try to go over here to the mining encampment. Mining encampment. Yes. Okay, so there's a crazy guy, and he is in the Azurite mine. So World of Warcraft people will probably have terrible flashbacks to the Azurite mine, or the Azurite, I should say. But yeah, there's this crazy guy here, Nico. And Nico wants you to dig down into the depths. You can see how it looks. Like basically, you go through and you uncover certain spots. You spend this currency called sulfate, and in exchange for spending sulfate, you can go do different encounters like a breach. Or maybe you just want some items, you know, more Azurite to upgrade your stuff. But you look at this, and you can see how, like, you can go to either side, and the mine just keeps expanding and expanding. And so it's a game mode where you just follow this minecart, and you just go deeper and deeper. And the penalties, as you can see, it says a petrified forest, and you see all those blues there. All those, those blue lines of text. Like, side passages contain 72% more Azurite veins. So you have to go look for those. Monsters have 381% additional critical strike chance. So, don't get one shot, you know. But the point is that the deeper you go into like the different areas you visit, the modifiers will change, and you'll be able to encounter different things in this mine. And so this is one of my favorite mechanics. And I completely forgot about it until just now, that this is like my favorite thing ever. But there is the menagerie where you collect Pokemon, and then you sacrifice them on an altar to serve the old gods and give you I like special item crafting. There's the Lord's Labyrinth, where you go through a procedurally generated labyrinth that changes every week, and it's really fancy. And there's the Forbidden Sanctum, which I hate and will never go to, and so on and so forth. So it's really, really cool set of mechanics. Anyway, Carrick's right there. I can't talk to Carrick anymore. I can't talk to Lilyroth either. There's oh, I see what's going on. They're stuck. Like, oh, there we go. Okay, Atlas mission. Very good, very good. Okay. Point is, take Void Stones. Crazy. Anyway, that's about it. We are we're done. We're gonna hang out here for a second, and we're gonna go talk about this again. So back.
This content is optional, and you can discover and engage with it at your own pace.
Point is that those the menagerie, the mine, the sanctum, all of it's optional, just like he said. Like, all of it is optional. No problem.
The Mastermind still has a chance to drop a Veiled Orb, now renamed to Veiled Exalted Orb. Veiled Chaos Orbs are being re-added to other Safe House leaders. In addition, the Mastermind now drops the new All Flame Embers. All Flame Embers are map fragments that replace monster packs in in-game maps with different types of special monsters. These packs have unusual properties, compositions, or rewards.
Okay.
For example, you might use the All Flame Ember of Kulamak, which replaces packs with Syndicate monsters and their leaders, who revive after the map boss has been slain. This might at first sound annoying due to backtracking, but these monsters when revived are far more intense and rewarding.
Rewarding, yeah, they drop better loot. That makes sense. Like, the moment I heard they revive when the map boss dies, then snap. Just snap. It's glorious. I'm super excited about that. You said you run entirely off of your 5G phone. I see. This isn't, I mean, it's single player optional. You can put it into solo self-found, but you're right. Like, this is more based around playing with others and or trading with others. Like, the economy is sacrosanct. Let me see. If PoE 2 allowed you to port your character, no, I'd want, like, starting new is the joy of this. Like, we're going to be doing a new league. We're going to be starting our character over from scratch. We do it every time we play, which is, like, I don't play every expansion. I play, like, every year or two at this rate. But, no. I don't, I wouldn't port my character over because like the economy resets that happen every league are a joy. Like, they're the reason I play. I'm in standard league right now just because I haven't played in a couple years, and I'm kind of showing off, mechanics in the game. But no, there are people who, like, they live in standard league. They don't play economy resets, but I do. Like, that's like one of the core reasons I play Path of Exile is, like, I'm starting a new character every time. and everyone else is as well, because they're participating in the league content. Anyway, let's go.
It is our intention with All Flames to provide many different types that combine with other mechanics, multiplying with your existing modifiers in new and interesting ways.
Maps, yeah.
Another good example of this is the All Flame Ember of Propagation. When slain, special rare monsters added by this All Flame here will spread their modifiers to other rare monsters in the map. This can be useful when trying to create singular, very powerful, and very rewarding monsters.
Yeah.
Something akin to meat sacks, which are making a reinvented comeback with this update too.
Okay. Tell me how.
Another is the All Flame Ember of Resplendence, which adds monsters that drop no items. But when you slay them, you get buff stacks of increased quantity and rarity to enhance the drops of all other monsters.
That's really good.
All Flame Embers can be placed in your map device like scarabs, and used in conjunction with scarabs to further customize your maps.
So, more importantly, you can take those All Flame Embers and you can sell them on the market with other people, and those people can just buy them up to farm to get better stuff. And you may not want to use your All Flames. You may just want to sell them. That's really cool.
We're looking forward to seeing which combinations players find to enhance their maps. Perhaps you'll use all scarabs, all flames, or maybe mix and match. It's up to you. The Mastermind's unique items have also been improved. The veiled modifiers generated on these items are now from a custom pool exclusive to those uniques. Bitterbind Point, for example, can now have various Spectre-specific outcomes.
Specters are basically, you can revive a monster and it becomes your Spectre. And you can, like with this, you can have an additional Spectre. Or the Spectres fire additional projectiles. That's really neat. Like that's, you can specially craft items that are busted, basically, and will greatly enhance Spectre builds.
Such as +1 additional Spectre. Aside from improved rewards from the Mastermind, all the Safe House rewards have also been rebalanced. We've done a pass on the crafting sprees at the end of many safe houses. For those who aren't aware how these crafting sprees work, well, it's simple. There's a crafting bench with an item in it and a bunch of currency.
Yeah.
There's a limited amount of time, and your only objective is to craft the best item possible before the time ends. One of the problems that the crafting sprees have is that they often require you to have specific items on hand in order to best maximize your result.
True.
But how are you supposed to know that beforehand? In order to solve this, most of the crafting sprees now offer pre-generated items. This has also allowed us to add much more powerful crafting options in each spree. Let's take a look at a few examples. In this spree, a randomly generated amulet or ring will be waiting for you. Test your crafting skill or luck with this Reflecting Mist crafting spree, and see if you can create something worthy of Kalandra's praise.
Mirrored.
And in this spree, you will find a pre-generated unique item, and a new kind of orb that resembles a Val orb, but not quite the same. Normally, you can only corrupt an item once, but uniques in this spree can be corrupted and re-corrupted as many times as there are orbs.
Yes.
This orb also allows you to get 2 corrupted implicits, and has a much lower chance to brick the item. It can be a very useful tool for seeking specific corrupted implicit outcomes. Of course, if you push your luck, you can still ruin the item. There are also crafting sprees where you still need to provide an item, but those items are generally more accessible and it occurs less frequently.
Oh, nice.
This one allows you to bring your own normal rarity item, then just go ballistic with a whole ton of scouring orbs and orbs of chance, hoping to get your ideal unique.
An orb of chance just randomly generates an item out of the base type, And scouring allows you to strip an item of all its properties and turn it back into its base type. So in other words, Orb of Chance, oh, I don't like it. Scour. Orb of Chance, scour. That is something I will be doing a lot of, probably.
For most sprees, the rank of the Syndicate member increases the amount of currency provided, the quality of the pre-generated items, and the time allowed to craft your item. Aside from the crafting sprees, there are other new options too. If you love gambling for currency, how about you try opening Varici's Emperor's Luck chests?
Oh,
These
yeah.
work just like the Emperor's Luck divination card and provide full stacks of currency. If
Neat.
you're lucky enough, unlike me, you could end up with a whole lot of divines.
Yeah.
Betrayal is a good source of veiled items. Veiled items have some important quality of life improvements in this expansion too.
Really?
All of the crafting bench options normally granted by unveiling items are instead now moved to the core game, so you don't need to run Betrayal to unlock them. They are instead found at the entrances to boss rooms and endgame maps.
Fair enough. When you... Okay. Let me do this. All right, so let's go over to the map device. So we go over to the map device here. And then the Atlas. So obviously I don't have any nodes found in Standard League because I don't play Standard League. But like, say this map here. If you go to the boss room, then over here there would be an item. Sorry, like a little pedestal, and you'd click on it, and it would add a crafting recipe to your character. And basically, the Atlas isn't it's not really visible here, but if you did have this, like all of the nodes, you would be like, okay, well, every single one of these has a crafting recipe that you can go see. And so you just travel the Atlas grabbing crafting recipes, which is good, I guess. You can unlock them faster, though, by finding veiled modifiers in Betrayal League, which is what he's talking about. Like, he's saying you don't have to do it, but it really benefits you to do it.
On top of that, you no longer need to speak to Jun to unveil items. You can just right-click them, or the equivalent on Gamepad, and select which veiled modifier you want to unveil.
Gamepad!
Overall, Betrayal is now much more streamlined and more rewarding. Happy interrogations.
Shut up!
Ah!
Now before we get into our quality of life additions, let's quickly talk about some character balance. We will be doing our regular character balance changes, where we are bringing outliers in line to help evolve the meta, but
I plan to continue this in a couple minutes, but I gotta go AFK for a second. I'll be back in just a moment. All right, I'm back. Let's continue. Let me hit some more buttons. Character balancing changes. Oof. That sounds awful. Just horrid. Okay. Yeah, just clicking through. A lot of messages. Right. Back to it.
We are also focusing our attention on buffing some specific things. This includes spellcasting supports that specifically enhance self-casting builds, channeled spells, adding new options to the Guardian, Berserker, Elementalist, Saboteur, and Champion Ascendancy classes, which include some favorites from some of the alternate classes from Legacy of Freesia, and buffing a whole bunch of transfigured gems that never really hit the mark. Combined with the new endgame crafting, improved Betrayal crafting options, rune graphs for your passive tree, new pinnacle unique items, new modifiers and Trathan gems from the Mercenaries, and of course the Mercenaries themselves to act as an extension to your character, it's safe to say there's a lot of new character options and builds to think about. Instead of delving into all of these in more detail, we figured we'd just let you absorb them through the patch notes so you can do it at your own pace. In the Secrets of the Atlas expansion, we've also added a lot of the quality of life features that we know you've all been asking for. A lot of these have already been posted, but let's take a look now in case you missed any.
Please.
You can now pause the game at any time by pressing escape to open the menu.
You have no idea how important that is. What do you mean I need to get up and walk away and don't want to die and lose my portal?
Or by opening any full-screen interface, like the passive tree.
Yeah?
You'll also be paused if any lag is detected or if you disconnect. It's worth noting that in certain
Holy crap. Any lag or you're disconnected. Oh my god. That is yeah. That is the biggest change ever. Super important. Holy crap.
Pinnacle arenas, a debuff will be applied to you that prevents you from pausing.
Okay, so you can't pause in the pinnacle bosses and be like, I see that part of that attack is coming down here. Pinnacle bosses you can't pause for because you could trivialize the game with rapid pausing. Fair enough.
We're also making a change to how you use currency items on strongboxes and monsters imprisoned in.
Oh. So you don't have to drag them from your inventory, yeah?
Essences. Based on the currency in your inventory and the state of the strongbox, these buttons will appear. Valuable currency like divine orbs have been excluded from this as it would often be wasteful to use in this context.
Yes.
The same applies to essences with the remnant of corruption currency.
Delightful. That is much easier. I imagine that playing on controller would probably be easier that way too.
Orbs of Horizon have been updated. They can now re-roll your Elder and Conqueror Guardian maps. Doing so will...
That is glorious. You used to ruin the maps by doing that, didn't you? Holy crap.
They can now re-roll your Elder and Conqueror Guardian maps. Doing so will re-roll the base map and the Guardian of that map. The map device now has a small additional inventory. This is particularly useful if you're rolling many maps to run in sequence, or if you want to use varying amounts of scarabs or other map fragments.
So there's just a small, like, stash next to your map device that you'll just be able to fill up with map-related stuff. That's really cool.
Breach encounters, all the splinters will be automatically collected and dropped at the end of the breach. On gamepads,
Yes.
we have separated the targeting of monsters and non-monsters, so you are able to target them independently. This removes a bunch of frustration when you are trying to interact with objects in the world and monsters are nearby.
Yeah.
You no longer have to kill all of them first.
Fair enough.
Vendor windows will now remember your last search. This is remembered until you log out and is remembered on a per NPC basis. The amount of characters you can type in the search field has also been increased. When using currency items, after right-clicking them, it will highlight all other items which that currency can be used on.
That's so neat.
There are many other quality of life improvements, so keep an eye on the patch notes after this livestream concludes.
That is, yeah. The game is much, much better now. Fair enough. Like, I already loved the game, so I only play it like once a year, usually, or twice a year. I'm going ahead and this time I stayed off of it since 2023, but wow, like I'm excited.
Alongside the launch of Secrets of the Atlas, we are hosting a competitive event where players will race to be the first to kill the new pinnacle bosses.
Not me. I'm not doing that.
The event will take place in the hardcore, solo self-found Mercenaries of Trathus League. We have some interesting prizes in store for the winners.
It's solo self-found? Oh, man. So it's not just player skill, it's RNG. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Keep an eye on the news in the lead up to launch for more details about how the event will work and what its prizes are. Next up, we're going to be talking about our new League supporter packs.
Ah, yes.
Today, we're launching 2 new series of supporter packs.
This is a free-to-play game, so this is how they make their money.
The Frisian Magistrate and Crypt Keeper packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. The Frisian Magistrate series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. The Frisian Magistrate character effect will bind your character in thorny vines and roses. You can select which parts of the character you want to have covered. Either your entire body, your lower body, or your upper body. As you approach waypoints, it will emit leaves and golden petals towards it. When activating the waypoint, it will create a burst around you. Envelop your weapon in thorny vines and golden flora with the Frisian Magistrate weapon effect. Your weapon will also create a trail to match as you swing, and even comes with its own hit effect when slaying enemies. You are the law, while wearing the armor of the powerful Frisian Grand Magistrate.
Ha!
The Spider Blossom Pet activates its defense mechanism, disguising it as an elegant flower when near rare or unique enemies. The Frisian Imperial Magistrate back attachment comes in 2 forms. Equip either the Tombstone variant, which will leave tombstones in your honor when you meet your demise, or equip the Cape variant to cause the corpses of slain enemies to become enveloped in rosethorn vines and blossom with golden flowers.
Cute.
Keep track of how well, or poorly, your ultimatums with the Trial Master have gone with the Trials of Chaos hideout decoration. It will keep track of the total number of waves completed, the total number of ultimatums succeeded, or even failed. On top of that, it will track the total number of times you've defeated the Trial Master himself. The
I do like
Keeper
chaos.
Pack series also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. With the Crypt Keeper finisher effect, death itself will tear through into the realm of the living and steal the soul of slain unique enemies. The Crypt Keeper portal effect creates a gateway for lost souls to pass through.
Now I'm looking more at the other one. Hold on. What was that effect?
And Steel Crypt contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
I want to see that one. Yeah.
With the Crypt Keeper finisher effect, death itself will tear through into the realm of the living and steal the soul of slain unique enemies.
Yeah, it's neat.
The Crypt Keeper portal effect creates a gateway for lost souls to pass through. Become the true master of the undead by wearing the hallowed Crypt Keeper armor set. It
I like
comes
it.
with a more armored helmet variant and a creepy mask with a spectral hood.
Mm-hmm.
Looking to have some fun during idle time in your hideout? The Burrowing Bramble Bash hideout decoration will test your reaction speed as you try to whack as many Devourer heads as possible in the shortest time. It also comes with a scoreboard, so you can try to set new records to show off to your friends or just visitors coming to trade. Equip yourself with the Ghostly Dead as you ride the line between the living and the dead with the Sacred Crypt Keeper back attachment.
I like that.
The Sacred Archives map device resembles a magical library with the works of scholars that come to life when you open a map.
That one's cool
This
too.
map device tracks how many of each core league you've completed in in-game maps.
Oh.
These packs are now available for purchase on both PC and console, and will remain so during Path of Exile, Mercenaries of Trathus.
I typically don't buy the supporter packs at the beginning of a league. I wait until I have enjoyed a bit of the league and go, well, that was a lot of fun. I guess I'll give them money.
Additionally, any microtransactions from the supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 2. Meanwhile, the
Yeah. See that one, that kind of slipped by there. Yeah, these are for Path of Exile 2 as well.
Paladin and Penance packs leave the store forever at the launch of the Mercenaries of Trathus League. So now's your last chance to purchase them.
You said you usually just buy tabs? I buy tabs as well, but I use the... Okay, so, you know, the currency that you use to buy tabs is you're given that full face value in supporter pack. Like, if you buy a supporter pack. So, in other words, like, you know, if you bought a supporter pack for $40, you would get $40 worth of that currency as well. Like, that you could use on tabs or whatever. So, it's the same cost. You get the same point value, basically. So it's, yeah. So it's totally worth buying the packs. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly.
Additionally, the Dawn of the Hunt mystery box will be made available for Path of Exile 1. If you have already unlocked any microtransactions from this box in Path of Exile 2, you will of course immediately have access to them in Path of Exile 1.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your ongoing support.
Bye. Oh look, it's trying to play what's his name? That's Patrician TV. That's pretty funny.
I'm John.
Okay. Let me see. Liam Neeson, Final Fantasy, what now? I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no clue what you mean. That sounds weird. Alright. But, let me see here. You're talking about him in drag somewhere? Because I skimmed Liam Neeson on image search, and there's nothing new. What a shame. He was a good man. What a rotten way to die. The Naked Gun movie, you mean? Oh, well. Anyway, we did it. We watched the thing. Yep. Okay. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, for those who missed it, I went ahead and Athelia, the Daedric Prince of Paths, they had a figurine for her. The figurine, believe it or not, only had 3,300 worldwide. They were unable to sell these completely unable to sell these. She's becoming Athelia, Daedric Prince of discontinued merchandise. So, what do you call it? They wanted $175 for her figurine. I got it, I got it for basically $50 from a person. Yeah. Don't forget the Bethesda certificate of authenticity. Yeah, exactly. But point is that she looks way better in figurine form than she does in the actual game. Her design in game is heavily nerfed compared to this. So yeah, I'm quite happy about this. Is it plastic? I think it's ceramic. It's heavy. It's very heavy. But yeah. No big deal there. Anyway, I'm gonna put my standing desk down. There we go. Damn it. Oops. There we go. Yeah, okay. So yeah. Would you ever 3D print a figure? I have access to my father-in-law's 3D printer. So the answer is absolutely. Absolutely. You can use the figurine as a weapon. There's a lot of things I can use as weapons. There's no question about that. Alright, let's see. But yeah, mostly I'm just curious now about Path of Exile, specifically. Hold on. I'm going to see if the controller can actually control the game in real time here. Or whether it's all false. Let's see. Whoops. Okay, looks like it isn't set up for the game right now. But they're adding controller, like, more in-depth controller support and stuff like that. So I'm super happy about this. When ESO server shut down, you should ritually break it on stream. I probably won't be playing ESO when it shuts down. I may be back to ESO briefly to check out the subclassing and stuff like that, but I'm not buying their content pack. I may resubscribe to ESO Plus if their content is good and available in it. But otherwise, I have no desire to buy any more ESO content. I quite enjoyed what I played, though. So we'll see how things work moving forward. Let me see here. All right, so yeah, we finished Path of Exile. What do you call it? The Path of Exile video. I'm quite delighted in what I saw. I'm excited to play the new content. Let's find out when the new content is. Let's go have a look at that. So, let's see here. Look at this guy's face. He's so happy. Look at him. What the hell? There we go. He's so happy. Let's try again.
Hi.
Anyway, let me... Path of Exile, Secrets of the Atlas. So, it's going to be in 7 days, 14 hours. It's going to be on June 13th. So that's when we're going to be playing the crap out of this game. I, unfortunately, have to go to bed. I got stuff to do. So, I will definitely be streaming Morrowind on Friday and Saturday. That's going to happen. Definitely. But, for now, I will see you all in the afternoon, most likely. Morrowind. So, good night, everybody. I will be on Discord and other places for, like, I want to say another hour or two. But I won't be around until most likely around lunchtime-ish. It'll be, we'll be trying to finish up Sothasil. the Clockwork City, and moving on to Blood Moon. That's our goal for the weekend. Our goal for the weekend is to finish, get started on Blood Moon. So anyway, thank you all for watching this fun little look into the Path of Exile content. I am going to be diving into this the moment it drops in 7 days. See y'all later.